Hello, welcome to PODnas. This is a sports show with some Southern and Cajun flair. I'm Daniel Hawks. That's Jared Roser. Today we are having a great old time. We're also going to preview college football week 8 and a little bit of the NFL for week 7. Going to give you the winners for the high school plays of the week. Jared, how are you doing this morning?
Good, man.
I'm much better than Monday, by the way, so this is lovely.
Yeah, I had a great time before we started just hearing about your dating life. I'm currently firing off a text to a group, including you, about Eve 6 and songs by Eve 6 that I liked as a child.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
I need to get in on this. So just before we get into stuff, we have this group chat where Jared posed the question the other day. Do you ever like get reminded of a song that you used to really, really like and put you in a better mood? And so the group chat, I have not participated yet, but the group chat has been on fire with
you're not really a music guy, you know? You never really have cared about music or dabbled in it, so it's not surprising. Anyway, so we're talking football.
That was way too far.
Back.
That was way too far. And yes, we're keeping that in. Yeah, no, never at all. I really don't like music. I prefer the sound of green noise.
Green noise?
Yeah.
It's like environmentally conscious white noise. Like,
actually, it kind of is. It's just more like nature noise that's at a certain frequency that's supposed to help you sleep better, as opposed to white noise. It's the frequencies are similar, but white noise is a little bit either below or above.
It's more bland. It's not quite as spicy. Let's talk football.
We got off the rails very quickly. I'm a fan. That is actually, I think, the quickest we've gone off the rails in a very long time. Okay, so PODnas pick 7 for the week. We pick 7 games. We hope that you learn a little something about it. Let's start off first, as we usually do, with the LSU game. LSU at Vanderbilt, an 11 a.m. game on ABC. Why are Vanderbilt and Mississippi State always early ass day games? I hate it.
Historically, you know the answer to that question is because those games are not the good games of the SEC slate, and so
so put them at 6:45 on ESPN Plus. All right,
they're trying to cover all of the television bases, and they relegate those games as the early ones.
That's fine, but that would be one thing if they did all the scheduling like before the season started, but they do this 2 weeks out and both these teams are ranked. Do you not think that maybe that at least deserves like a middle of the day game? And I know they have Ole Miss, Georgia, and then I know there's Tennessee, Alabama, both of which games we're going to talk about. I just don't like waking up early for a football game.
Sure. I mean, who does? And that's why I said when you mentioned the 2 weeks out scheduling dynamic, that's why I said historically. This week is more just a matter of the fact that you have, as you well know, obviously Bama, Tennessee, and you've got Ole Miss, Georgia. 2 other games we're going to talk about, and so this is more of a byproduct of it's a good game they can get on the prime time 11 a.m. Central window, but not as good as some of the others on a banger SEC schedule.
I get it. Okay, I get it. It's on ABC. ABC's got a really nice triple header of 3 ranked teams. Still will probably end before the CBS slate because those games last forever. But
so
let's talk
unusual Louisiana week because we've got the LSU game, obviously, that we're about to talk about first, and then in a second we'll get to Tulane Army, and those are kind of, to me, the 2 headline games of the Louisiana slate, and they're both at 11, and so it's kind of a wild start and then a trickle down to where you've got Nichols on the road at night as kind of your nightcap for the Louisiana games.
Which I'm sure will be. I won't be able to watch, but I'm sure you'll be very in tune for. So let's get into this game, though. A couple of things that I did want to talk about is one, Diego Pavia, who, even though he has already matched his interception total from last year, with 2 interceptions last week 2 weeks ago versus Alabama, he's still a very dangerous quarterback and a very dangerous quarterback who can run. This is an LSU team that has had trouble in recent years stopping mobile quarterbacks. And they're just in general harder to stop. That's why mobile quarterbacks are so dangerous, i.e. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and half of the NFL right now. But what is this LSU defense saying about or doing to contain Diego Pavia's legs? Because I think Brian Kelly even talked about how while the Vanderbilt team is a very capable passing team with over 200 passing yards a game, that they're much more worried about Diego Pavia beating them with their legs.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be a disciplined, sound defense, stay in your lanes, don't get outside of yourself. And this is a week where, as much as they'll talk all season long about playing your 1 of 11, this is big in that regard, because if one guy gets a little bit out of where he's supposed to be, then suddenly there's a lane there. And that was as much focus against South Carolina was about some of the issues and miscues on the offensive side of the ball and turning the ball over in inopportune times. They gave up that long touchdown run to the Gamecocks on a misplayed run fit situation, and that ended up being far and away the longest running play of South Carolina's entire season so far. It was whatever it was, 72 yards, and they hadn't had a run longer than 30 yards all season. And so that exact play is what you can't do this weekend. Guys rushing off the edge, you need to make sure that you're keeping contained there and not letting Diego Pavia bounce to the outside. Making sure that you're playing as your role in that unit and, not getting outside of where everyone needs to be at a moment on defense, because all of a sudden then you have a 3rd and 12 that turns into the sticks moving and it's a real deflating situation, and those things just kind of snowball.
And how is LSU? And I'm genuinely asking this because I haven't checked from the injury standpoint. Do we have any outstanding injuries like on the team going into this matchup? Something that would, that they're maybe looking for a second stringer or a lower classman to kind of step up in this role, either on the offense or defense.
So the big news this week from an injury standpoint, I think we kind of knew starting the week Bernard Gooden was dealing with like a collarbone shoulder situation, that he's a little bit banged up and didn't feel great about him going into this game necessarily. But they do think it's going to be a short-term thing at least. But Wednesday night, Whit Weeks is the news that he's now questionable for this game. And so your Vom buddy there, as folks that watched a couple of days ago, you guys like to kind of partake in the same sort of ritual of let's vomit at the beginning of our recordings and our games to get ready. He's now questionable. And obviously, as much as we've talked about Whit the last couple of years, if he's not able to go, and if he's not able to go against a team with Diego Pavia and everything that we just talked about, as active and sound and strong a tackler and all those things that Whit is, really well-rounded linebacker, if he's suddenly pulled out of the middle of that defense, that's a really notable kind of change in complexion of who you've got out there.
1000%. And another thing that I'll be really looking at with this game is, and what we've talked about all season, and Brian Kelly has yelled at a reporter about, is this rushing attack, because it is the last, LSU's last in rushing yards in the SEC right now. And Vandy is 16th against the run. So they're not a great within the SEC. 16th in the SEC against the run. So can LSU do something for 2 weeks in a row on the ground? Can we finally start to see some life from this running game? And also, is Trey'Dez Green going to keep ascending, or will someone else kind of step up for this game? So I really want to watch LSU offense versus this Commodores D and see kind of how they do and see how balanced they are.
And that's another, kind of next level answer or whatever to, another layer of answer to what we were talking about with containing Diego Pavia is, I think LSU can watch that Alabama game and see some of those long drives Alabama was able to put together, and just keeping Diego Pavia off the field for stretches would be great if you can run the ball effectively on Saturday and do that sort of thing. And from the passing game standpoint, It's going to be a really interesting week after, hearing so much of the LSU talk about feeling like Garrett Nussmeier is continuing to get healthy, and he felt his best and his most confident this past weekend against South Carolina, and hoping he can continue to build on some of that and just clean up some of the miscues. Aaron Anderson, who they were without this past weekend again, is listed as probable, and he would obviously be a nice spark to the passing game on top of what you were just saying about Trey. They want to continue to feature Trey in a big way, but they also want to take what is available there and feel like they can do a better job of getting the ball to Aaron Anderson now that he's back, we hope, on Saturday, getting Barron Brown, who's been great in spots when he's given opportunities this year, to hopefully get some things clicking with Chris Hilton. And so both run game and passing game, there's a lot to kind of.
I would love to see some manufactured touches for also like Xavier Thomas out of the back. I just think he's so explosive. Every time he touches the ball, I'm like thinking something's going to break off for a big run. And I would love to kind of see that utilized more, maybe similar into a kind of way that like Debo was used, not in as much as Debo was kind of running sometimes through the offensive line, but just manufacturing touches for him in a rushing sense or a short game passing sense, where he's able to kind of get some space and kind of take off and go. I would love to see something like that. So we've seen it a couple times, but I would love to see it utilized a little bit more. Figuring
out, I guess what you're saying is not specifically targets as touches, just touches over targets sort of thing. And like whatever way those touches come, just find ways to get him the dang ball.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
And you see how many names we're listing right now, and these are all the reasons why the expectations were so high for this LSU offense coming into the season, and why
it's been so disappointing.
Why 3 days ago or whatever, when we were talking about coming out of the South Carolina game, I kind of made the point of, look, Garrett Nussmeier, for everything that we've seen, is still like fifth in the conference or whatever it is, fifth or sixth in the conference in passing. And so like, it's not as bad in a lot of ways as what you would think if you woke up for the first time this season and logged on Twitter on a Saturday night or Sunday morning, but it just hasn't been what was expected, and not just from the outside, but what these guys expect from themselves. And so I'm super interested to see, as they continue to express confidence, that they are going to find that rhythm and start to limit some of those mistakes, be able to push the ball downfield a little bit more, hopefully build off of some of the positives in the running game you saw against South Carolina. This is a really interesting opportunity now going on the road to see if, like you said, if they can put some of these things together back-to-back weeks, because it only gets harder from here, obviously.
Yeah. And, as I think underwhelming as the rushing attack has been, Caden Durham is averaging 7.7 yards a carry in away games. So maybe something about that crowd going after him is going to get him all jacked up on Mountain Dew, and he's going to be able to bust off a run or two and really help Nuss in this offense kind of control the clock, which I think also, like you said, echoing that, is paramount for keeping this Vanderbilt offense off the field.
He's another guy. We've talked so much about Nuss and where he is. Is he 100%? Is he 80?
I know.
Where
I was going to ask, because I know
Caden's dealt with some,
ruled out for Ole Miss. Obviously they have the bye, comes back to play and has a very good game last week. So is he feeling, from all news that you've heard or people you've talked to, is he feeling, as well as you can be at this point in the season? No one's going to be 100%, obviously. But how's he feeling coming into this game?
Yeah, he was somebody that, to start the week on Monday, Brian Kelly said he thinks he's good. He's going to be fine. He wasn't at all on the injury report on Wednesday. And so, not even listed as probable. He's just go. And so that can certainly be a big factor in this game.
All right. Well, let's pick them. I'm going with LSU. I do think this LSU team just is a little bit more talent than the Vanderbilt team. And I do have trust in this Brian Kelly coaching staff to kind of look at what happened 2 weeks ago at Alabama and be able to pick up some of those things for this vastly improved LSU defense. And they're able to come away with a win, maybe force a couple turnovers from the Vanderbilt side, and I do think they'll be able to control the clock in this game. So I'm going LSU.
This game scares me quite a bit.
Me too. I was flip flopping so much. I was going
it scared
yes,
me
no, yes, no.
That much more Wednesday night when we got word that Witt was questionable. It scares me that much more now that I know that you're picking LSU, and so I'm taking LSU. I feel like it has an opportunity to be a really big moment for them to go on the road against a top 20 Vandy team that we've said repeatedly is much improved from the Vandy of years past. But this could really go either way. And we've seen historically, I mean, under Brian Kelly, but also under previous coaches, it's just been kind of a thing for LSU that these 11 a.m. games, they struggle to start fast in that first quarter or so. And this is a team that hasn't put together particularly exciting offensive starts to games anyway. So hopefully you're at least not trying to dig yourself out of a hole at 11:15, 11:20 in the morning. But if they can start okay, maybe that defense can give them a nice spark early, then I do think LSU can go up there and get this one.
Absolutely. And listen, Mr. 5-2. All right. You're talking to 6-1. All right. Week 6. So you better hush your mouth.
Just really like that 5-2 weeks for me. You're like, you are terrible. And then you stumble across
I'm consistently 3-4, 4-3.
that loose blind squirrel finds a nut acorn and gets your 6-1 week in there. And you're like, look at me, world beater.
Do it, homie. It can't be done. All right, let's move on. Next up is going to be Army at Tulane. Also an 11 a.m. game. And it's going to be on ESPNU if you're trying to watch it.
Yeah, man. You want to talk about needing to be disciplined in your run fits and get the hell off the field.
Literally just going to say Army is rushing for 282 yards a game, which is typical for like an Army Navy type team. But right now, Tulane's defense can't really stop a nosebleed. So it's been, I would say, a roughish out there. Maybe not a nosebleed. They could maybe stop that. But if they stopped and the other one went, I don't know if they could do both at the same time. And that is just they've racked up a lot of yards. I don't think it's necessarily come in the scoreboard. They've been a little bend don't break, but it was a little bit shocking to me to see some of the Tulane defense stats. They're allowing 389 yards a game, 150 yards on the ground, 240 yards in the air, but only 23 points a game. So I really think it's going to be, as we kind of talked about with LSU, can Tulane defense like keep this Army run game in check, because they really can't do anything in the air.
Yeah, it's all complimentary football has been at the forefront of all the conversations in Baton Rouge this year, and that's kind of how I look at some of the Tulane dynamic right now overall, and in particular for this game, because as much as you're looking at the issues of let's get off the field a little bit more quickly on defense and not rely on kind of the big timely plays and staying, keeping the opponent off the scoreboard in some spots, even when they are moving the ball a little bit. For me, they need to be more efficient on offense and cash in some drives and not be settling for 4 field goals in the first half against East Carolina. And then next thing you know, have a couple of bad possessions and they're finding themselves down late. All of a sudden
it's 35-14 and Army has just run away with any chance you have to go to the college football playoff, like what happened last year. So I think that game kind of still sticks in my mind, because I remember watching that game and being like, oh man, Tulane might really have a chance to actually, I know the Memphis kind of took that off the table, but then Memphis, for them to go with those back-to-back losses to end the season was just kind of frustrating to watch. And I may be just projecting and a little bit worried that that same thing is going to happen.
You should be worried, man. That's what Army does to people. And this is a Tulane team right now that, I mean, you saw Summerall was kind of one of the viral clips of the weekend last weekend coming out of that Thursday game where he said, we're an immature football team and we make too many mistakes and we find ways to win games and they're going to drive me insane or drive me crazy or whatever it was. You could tell sort of the the stress from him as a guy that wants his team to be clicking at a high level and sees big potential for this team, but that is just kind of stumbling its way through, but still coming out with wins. And so hasn't really broken out of some of those bad tendencies and locked in as effectively in 4 quarters and every single play as what he expects from those guys. And this is exactly the type of matchup where if you play like that and you have these mental lapses in spots, it's going to cost you in a big way, and it's going to look like last year's American Conference Championship game if that's how you approach this thing. And so I know they've been on the guys this week about exactly those things. These are the type of mistakes that are going to cost us the season that we want to have if we don't clean this up. And so now they have to figure out if they can do that for 4 quarters against a solid Army team at 11 a.m. in the morning, and just like we were talking about LSU, not come out of the gates half awake because it's an AM kickoff and all those things.
See, but at least in just, I'm going to harp on this all the time. At least Tulane has a vast majority or a lot of their games are in this early slate. And I feel like it kind of at least helps with the player's routine of not kind of jolting it too much, or they have some experience of, hey, I know what I need to do to get up and get ready for this 11 a.m. game. And again, I will hop off this point in a second. When a team like LSU, who almost exclusively plays at night, has to do this, I just don't think those players have a lot of base to get into the same routine. And maybe somewhat of the coaching staff too, because you're so used to doing it a certain way. That's just human nature. That's not that anyone can't do it or they won't come out this way. But I feel like Tulane may have a little bit more of a leg up because they are used to doing this. They are used to being ready for kickoff at 11. So I'm going to go with Tulane. These first 2 games, I was flip-flopping back and forth.
Same, dude. I don't feel comfortable about either one of these things.
I kept looking. I was like, maybe, no.
This game makes me super anxious because I'm in the Tulane shirt today. This is the game I'm going. This is the game I'm going to be at Saturday morning, and I'm looking forward to getting down there and getting into, as you mentioned, we have kind of the routine for the early morning Tulane kickoffs where I know I'm going to get there. The breakfast is going to be ready for 9 a.m. You don't get a lot of breakfast media meals or whatever, but they do a great job of it. Shout out to the folks at Tulane with the meals and whatnot. And but I'll get down there, and I am really hoping that everything that we're saying, that Tulane finds a way to not suddenly be on the field for 8 minutes as the Black Knights kind of grind their way down the field, find ways to get, but I really don't know. I'm taking Tulane to win, but this is a monster pivotal game for this season, obviously.
Yeah. I think that actually Tulane could really control this clock too between Retzlaff. Sorry, between Retzlaff on the ground
and the backs. Just don't fumble the ball. Green Wave. If you're worried about Army controlling the clock and trying to not let that get as out of hand as it can get on teams in a hurry, take care of the football.
It will literally. It's literally going to be who can control the ball more, because both these teams are top 15 in time of possession, Army being number 1 in the country and Tulane being 11. So who is going to keep the ball for the longest amount of time? I think that's going to be the winner. And I think given that Tulane is at home in Ullman, that I'm going to lean that way.
Hope so. I don't know that they win time of possession, but you just can't let it get away from you.
No, it needs, at least needs to look similar. It can't be 15 minutes to 36. If that happens, our Army's going to win. I didn't do math well, but you get what I said.
I'm glad you called yourself out, because I was like, all right, so I guess at that point okay.
Yeah, I understand my faults. Okay. I'm very self-aware. Next up, it's going to be Troy at ULM, 2 p.m. ESPN Plus if you're trying to watch it out of market. So ULM's quarterback, Aiden Armenta, has thrown a pick in 4 of the 6 games. He's got to take care of the ball. I think that was my biggest takeaway, like kind of looking at this game. Give this defense, I think this defense, from a stats perspective, has not looked as good as they kind of look when you actually watch them. And I think a lot of that is because this ULM offense is gassing them a lot. When you're not taking care of the ball, it's putting this defense in a bad position, and it's given your opponents an easier chance to score or more opportunities to score. So, it's not rocket science. You take care of the ball, you're usually going to win. You win the turnover battle. So yeah.
It's a ULM team that we've talked about the last 2 years. We like the defense a lot. They typically run the ball fairly effectively. And those type of teams, you can't turn the ball over, and you typically need to be pretty solid in special teams. They haven't been great in special teams. They've had some costly turnovers. I say haven't been great, and just in terms of field position dynamics, net punt yardage, sure, and stuff like that. It hasn't been bad. It just hasn't been, top of the conference type stuff.
Yeah.
And more importantly, the turnover piece that you just mentioned. And so we'll see. It's another one that, not unlike some of what we were just talking about with Tulane, man, take care of the ball and be able to, lean on that ULM defense.
Yeah.
Without putting them on the field for 4 quarters, yeah.
No, for sure. And I mean, ULM, their rushing attack is king. So again, run the damn ball. 47th in the country, 179 yards a game. If they can do that against a very stout like Troy, not very stout. I was looking at the wrong thing. A very stout Troy defense is not what I would call it. Their rushing attack's under 19th, so you can run on them. I made that way too complicated. Sorry about that. But what I would like to see is ULM be a lot better on third down. They're only converting 31% of the time, and that means you're in fourth down, you're most likely punting 69.1% of the time. So I did that math correctly. That was right.
I wasn't even following. I was trying to remember. So for me, one of the things third down efficiency for sure is one of the first things I look at with all of these teams. And then from third down efficiency, I then try to unpack, okay, can I find, or do I have to math it up, what are those distances looking like, and how much are you helping yourself in first and second downs versus putting yourself in third and longs, where it's just not a recipe for success. And I don't remember that number on ULM, and if they're putting themselves in bad spots behind the chains a little bit, or if they're just having trouble converting, third and threes and whatnot. But third downs are critical, obviously, for any team.
I am going to go with Troy on this one. I unfortunately do not think that the ULM slide stops here. I just think Troy's a little bit better of a team. So I'm going to say it's another Warhawks loss.
Yeah, I'm leaning Troy as well. I think as much as we look at ULM and say, okay, playing tight defense and grinding some things out, having success on the ground and whatnot, I think there's just not a lot of room for error for this ULM team right now against some of the better teams in the Sun Belt. And I think Troy, as you said, probably a little bit better of a team from a standpoint of having some guys that can really hurt you, make some big plays, and give themselves a little bit more room for error. And so, unfortunately, Trojans are my pick here. Yeah,
same there. All right, next up. Game that's booted LSU to the 11 a.m. Number 5 Ole Miss at number 9 Georgia. 2:30 ABC immediately following that LSU game.
I haven't even thought about these other SEC games. I get so locked into thinking about the Louisianas that I don't know. Go ahead.
A couple things. Ole Miss offense, as most Lane Kiffin offenses are, is phenomenal. They're 5th in the country. They're 8th in passing. But this Georgia defense is also great against the run. They're not allowing 100 yards a game. They're 17th. They're only allowing 17 points. But then you look at the other side, and Ole Miss is only allowing 19 points a game. So I think that this is going to be such a back and forth game. I actually think that this could be, both offenses are in the 30s for their points per game. I think this could be significantly lower. I think this could be a little bit of a, or I'm completely wrong, and it's going to just be blowout, and it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think more that both Lane Kiffin and Kirby Smart are both really good coaches and can really scheme up some stuff. I think that it's going to be kind of down in the mud. I think this will be a little bit of a game where both teams may be kind of doing a Floyd Mayweather and just like looking for their opportunity to land a big punch for a lot of the first half, maybe first 3 quarters. And then we finally maybe see a breakout in the fourth quarter from one team. I'm very excited about this game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. The storyline here of if Ole Miss runs, does that put them in top 3, top 4 in the country? I mean, they're already 5 right now, but does that have people start seriously looking at them as a contender to win the college football playoff, not just be in the college football playoff? And on the other side, if that does happen, Georgia's already at 2 losses. Where do they go from there? They still have to play Tennessee. They still have a SEC schedule. Nothing is given on that. So where does that put them? And then on the other side, if Georgia can find a kind of chink in the armor for this Ole Miss offense, does that kind of start the unraveling that we've seen a couple of times before from Lane Kiffin team, where it's like they're so good, so good, and then the roller coaster happens and they hit the peak and they go down. So I'm super excited to watch this game. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like the matchup a lot, and I agree with you that I would expect it to be more of a lower scoring slugfest where, I mean, like the winning team may only be like 20 to 24 points.
Yeah.
If somebody gets to 30, I feel great about their chances to win. I think it's more likely to end up that way than suddenly getting into a shootout, and just that being a credit to expectations for this Georgia defense and then being able to contain some of, what that Ole Miss offense and Trinidad Chambliss and company are going to bring to the table, as well as you alluded to Ole Miss defensively the last couple of years. The read on a Lane Kiffin team is always this expectation, man, they're going to sling the ball around and all these things. And Ole Miss has been generally a pretty effective running team to set up a lot of that. And then the last couple of years, a really good defensive team, where that stood out to me as much as anything in the Tulane and the LSU games is man, like finding separation against this Ole Miss defense is tough, and they're getting after you. And so that bodes well against this Georgia team to stay in the game and give yourself a chance in a low scoring game. The Washington State outcome last week changes my impression of this Ole Miss team a lot going into this game. If they had taken care of business more handily in that one, I would feel pretty good about an Ole Miss pick.
Listen, man, Pac-12 is back. All right.
They are
pack too much to handle. All right.
They are aggressively not. But I just wonder, like, do we see a nice shake back from that game and Ole Miss look like more of what we had watched from Ole Miss the first month of the season? Or is that kind of a sign of concern that they had some issues in that game? I'm going to go ahead and take Georgia. Don't love it. Like a lot of these picks, I'm really torn about it, but I'll take Georgia to win and just continue to muck up the top of that SEC.
Yeah, I think just Georgia being at home, that's such a tough place to play. And then Georgia's red zone defense is 5th in the country. They're only allowing 66.7% on red zone trips from, opponents' offenses. Ole Miss is around 88%. So it'd be really interesting to see if Ole Miss does move the ball down the field. Can they score in the red zone? And can they get 7 instead of 3? Because I think if they have to turn to field goals a lot, I think that bodes really well for Georgia, and being able to take control of this game and not let that Ole Miss offense, from a points perspective, kind of get out of hand, and really keep the game, even if they're down, in a very winnable, reachable margin.
Yeah.
Nice. Look at us. Look at us doing stuff. All right, next up, Southern Miss at UL, 4 p.m. ESPN Plus if you're trying to watch that outside of can you watch UL in Lafayette? Do they have like a TV station that shows them all the time?
I don't know, man. I like
I don't know. I just didn't want to say like ESPN Plus, and then someone from Lafayette is in here is like, you can watch it on KMRSB. I don't know any of the call signs down there for any stations.
They have like a Lafayette. They say I think it's LUS or whatever, like Lafayette Utility Services or something. That there are things that occur from a media standpoint out there that I'm not as privy to here, but I know when I've guest hosted radio shows out there and I'm reading off, okay, this is on this or whatever, that like you can also catch us on LUS, whatever channel. But I don't know. I just know ESPN Plus for this. I'm really bad. People ask me for tickets to games every week, especially the LSU games. Hey, can I get cheaper free tickets? And I don't ever know tickets, and I rarely know television because I'm just out at one of the games all the time, doing media things.
Doing media thing.
It's a technical term.
I'll be in my room doing media thing.
That's 100%. That's 100% what my Saturdays are like. Everyone's excited. Hey man, come by the tailgate. I'll be in my room, aka the press box.
I remember that from when I was down there, and I'd be like, "Hey, do you want to come by the tailgate?" You're like, "I might stop by after the game's over and the press conference is over and everything. I'll just see you out maybe tomorrow."
Yeah, I'll see you at about 1:30, right before the bar closes, and I've just gotten out of
I've just gotten out of going to all the media, all the press conferences, and writing my story and doing all the stuff that I need to do for my job, while I've been drinking since 11 a.m.
Yeah, while I'm sitting in Coach O's post-game press conferences and have McCall and them blowing up my FaceTime. Like, can you please stop while I try and live stream this?
Oh man, Chet did that to me the other day. It was so annoying. I was on a work call and Chet called 4 times FaceTime. I was like, you got to stop right now. Anyway, I digress. Let's talk about this game. We've talked, this feels like a theme for kind of every game, but
yeah,
UL needs to run the damn ball. If they do not, I don't really think that they have a shot to win this. 200, they're averaging almost 200 and 184 yards on the ground a game right now, but they are letting up 216. So if they can run the ball and keep them off the field, this UL defense has struggled. So that'll be key.
And the positive development when we're looking at some of these injury reports this week and whatnot in that regard is Zylan Perry is listed as probable this week. And so if you can get him kind of the lightning to the Bill Davis Thunder and have both of those guys going again this week, along with Lunch Winfield, who it's
Lunch again. Howard's not, is Howard slated to start practicing or come back? Is there any update on that injury?
Yeah, he's been practicing this week. He's listed as the number 2 quarterback, but essentially they feel good enough about what Lunch is bringing to the offense and also him kind of shaking back from his ankle over the last couple of weeks that he's the guy. As long as they feel like he's bringing that juice, it's going to be interesting to watch that kind of competition, I think, play out over the next month and a half. If Walker Howard is able to kind of get back into his rhythm and show some of the things that had him earn that starting role to start with. But the guys have really rallied around Lunch, unsurprisingly, just having known Lunch since he was, I think, a sophomore in high school, and the way he carries himself and the way people gravitate toward him. And he brings something to that running game with his legs that's a little bit higher level than what the other guys on that quarterback depth chart do. And to watch him hit some of his bigger passes downfield and whatnot has been encouraging the last couple of weeks. And so there are definitely positive things there in terms of confidence in the running game being established. And as you mentioned, that's going to be critical this week, and particularly critical every week for the Cajuns, but particularly this week against a Southern Miss team that gets after opposing quarterbacks, is really high in that Sun Belt Conference in terms of the sacks that they produce and interceptions, because they're applying that pressure and then coming up with opportunistic plays in coverage. And so getting yourselves into some situations where you're not forced to pass on 3rd and 9 and whatnot is going to be really big for this Cajuns team this weekend.
I mean, yeah. And last week having 243 yards versus that James Madison team. I mean, I think Lunch has the ability to maybe lead this rushing attack, to lead this offense, and maybe upset Southern Miss team, who is 2-0 in Sun Belt, and that would be huge for this Cajuns team to kind of get back on track, because at least within the Sun Belt, they're only 1-1. So get a win here, you're on the right side of you're on the right side of a 2-1 swing, and maybe stuff starts to look up, and like you said, maybe if this team is rallying around lunch, like, keep it going.
Yeah. We talked Monday, obviously, about, man, the Cajuns and the Warhawks and need to shake back, and how worried are you about these losses and whatnot. And you look at the standings, it's still so early, and they're both right there at 1-1 in conference, and very much everything is still in front of them if they can win games like the games they have this weekend against teams that have started 2-0 in conference. Another one, man, I'm torn on, I'm concerned about. I'm gonna go with Southern Miss to get the win. Hopefully I'm wrong on that, and the Cajuns can take care of business at home, and a lot of it will be leaning on that running game, as we've said a bunch of times, but also continuing to tackle better and get the hell off the field, and be more consistent defensively in that regard. And that's been the concerning thing for the Cajuns all season long, and it concerns me again in this one. But hopefully I'm wrong. But
Yeah,
Southern Miss.
Jared, are you hungry right now? Because it's lunchtime, baby. Let's go. We're picking you out.
Good,
it actually
man.
is about lunchtime. We're about to get into that. So that was perfect. Let's keep moving on. We're going a little long today. All right. Next up, Tennessee at Alabama, 6:30. It's the night game. Tennessee has the best passing offense in the SEC. Alabama has the second best secondary in the SEC right now. So a movable force meets an unstoppable object. Who is going to win? Okay, they can both be the same. I got it. I got them mixed up. Unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Hey,
yeah, there we go. All right. Even though we redid this part, I still
I was about to say, folks are going to have no idea how many more times it actually took you to figure this out, because it looks right now like twice, but it's actually more like 7.
Lucky number 11. Let's go. I think Tennessee wins this game. They've won 2 out of the last 3 versus Alabama after having a 15-year losing streak during the Nick Saban era. I know that Alabama is probably playing like the best team in the SEC right now, but I do think Tennessee is right behind them. The way that Joey Aguilar is passing the ball right now, and the way that what is the Tennessee coach names? It's Josh Heupel.
Heupel. You don't. Yeah, Josh Heupel, man.
Okay, cool. The way that he's scheming up wide receivers, they're just wide open sometimes. Just can literally run backwards and do a Tyreek peace sign forward sometimes when they're going through the end zone. I know that this Bama secondary is really good, and they've gotten some pieces back after not having them for that Florida State game. I just think there's something special about this Tennessee team, and I'm gonna roll with them and give them the win.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, because if you try and show up to the bar on Saturday after picking Alabama to win on the 3rd Saturday in October, they're not going to like you very much about that.
No, and I won't.
When they know how much you don't like Alabama to begin with. We talked about themes before. Themes are, I don't know what the hell is going to happen on Saturday in most of these games, and that holds true with this one. The
theme for today is IDK. Actually, that should be the title for our show today. It says PODnas Pick 7. I don't know.
Yeah, and this is a series where obviously there's been chaos through the years, and so thing could come down to a kick at some point that just spins an entire 4-quarter war on its head, whether it's a make or miss. This is a Tennessee team that there are plenty of reasons to be excited about, but also they've had to kind of grind through some close wins against some of the lower level teams in the SEC the past couple of times out. While Alabama seems to kind of be finding its stride, as you mentioned, as they get healthy. I'm going to take Alabama to win, but once again, IDK with the theme of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I also kind of figured you were going to take Alabama, and at this point, I got to catch up. So I either got to catch up or go down in a fiery burning flame, which is most likely the latter will happen. But
How
you know,
far behind me are you right now?
I don't, I haven't, I we'll do that on the recap show. Okay. All right, let's get to this last show. I know we're running long. We're almost at an hour today. Um, Saints at Bears. I'm going to this game.
Nice.
Noon on Fox. Here's the thing. The Saints are going to lose. The Bears are playing really well, but I think this will be a lot closer game than people think because this Saints team has been super pesky. And Spencer Rattler has been playing way above, I think, expectations. And honestly, with Chase Young back, with Cam Jordan, with this defense still playing way above what they should be, I just think that it is not one. I don't think this will be a game like Seattle where Chicago just gets off to this raucous start
No.
where they're just far and above the best team on the field. I think they are the best team on the field, but I don't think this Saints team is given up yet, and or just said F it and like where we know we're getting the number one pick. I think there's still a lot of fight in them. And I think every team except the Jets in the NFL, you can really say that for right now. So
That shoot, man, the Jets somehow, despite being god awful, were still in a close game with Denver.
yeah. We don't need this isn't a New York podcast. We don't need to get into the Jets woes because we could just be here for another hour if we do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, picking the Bears here. I don't think there's, like we kind of said, I don't think there's too much to say, but I don't think the Saints go up to Chicago, and get a win here, with how well the Bears have played the last couple of weeks. I think this Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams marriage is looking like it's going to be a long-term thing and not a Matt Eberflus fling. So,
Big win a couple days ago. Yeah,
big win.
I'm gonna take him to get another one this weekend. Maybe not as eye-catching as the win in. Now I'm gonna screw up the weeks in week 6. Was it for the week 6 for the NFL? But week 7, I think they do get another win in Chicago.
Oh, you picking the Saints?
No. I'm saying the Bears get another win.
Okay.
Maybe
I was
not.
like, look at you.
No, my Saints picks are going to be few and far between this season, and going up to Chicago on the road against a team that is playing well and coming off of one of the better wins or more eye-catching wins of week 6. I'm not going to take them to do that. I'm not going to say go Bears, but that's
well,
what
you don't say that anyway. It's bear down.
Skull Bears.
Skull Bears, yeah.
But you got to do it with claws. Anyway, let's get the hell
on. That is our PODnas Pick 7. We'll give you a full recap of how we did on the Monday recap show. Couple more things before we get out of here. First off, we got a high school play of the week winner. Congratulations, Easton Royal from Brother Martin.
Dude,
just
a monster.
Amazing. I mean, amazing play. If you haven't seen this play, go to our Instagram, check it out. It's wow.
I think it got all of the votes except for one, and Coach Chop from Lafayette Christian, who shout out him for following Louisiana versus all y'all stuff. He commented, "These are all great plays, but the Easton catch in double coverage was insane." Yeah. Whatever he said.
I mean, that thing was amazing.
Yeah,
it's great. It was one-handed too. It's just incredible. Go watch this play.
Great seeing. Just continuing to shout out to Chop and the Knights. Great seeing those guys go get a big win last week. That's where I was on Friday, but. Yeah, man, Easton Royal, phenomenal catch against a loaded Carr secondary. Carr got the best of that game, but that moment for Easton was a viral, literally made you got mossed with it. One-handed catch with his arm, his hand and his shoulder pad, and then goes off for the score. He's a guy that is capable of doing that pretty much every week and every play, and so thankful that we get another year and a half to watch him of high school, and then LSU fans hoping we get a chance to watch him in Tiger Stadium for the years after that.
And also for every week and every play, if you see something, say something, send us that play. We need all the help we can get, scouring the entire state of Louisiana for what are the high school top plays of the week. And if you see something and you're like, wow, that is just incredible, send it over to us. DM us on any of the socials. Reach out to Louisiana versus all y'all at gmail.com. And yeah, let us know what you think is the top play of the week. We'll have 4 more plays from this upcoming weekend on our Monday show, and we will be crowning a new king of the week, play of the week type thing.
Yeah, I guess we should. I was gonna say, should we rebrand this to be king of the week? But if it's just one play, you can't.
Yeah, and then if there's we have a couple times where it's been like the whole defense or a wide receiver. I guess we could say go off king. Is that what we should call it? Maybe it might be rebranded next week. We'll see. We've been here for far too long. Thank you for sticking around with us. If you have, please like, share, comment on the video. Check out the Louisiana versus all y'all website, louisianaversusally'all.com. Bunch of great stuff on there, getting updated daily. And socials, LA versus all y'all, Twitter and Instagram, PODnas_LA on Instagram. Check it all out. Comment with us, talk to us, tell us why we suck, tell us why we're great. Who knows? It's up to you. Internet's a wild place. We love it. Jared, do you have anything else before we get out of here?
No, just keep the how or why we suck thing, bite size enough where I'm not mentally strong enough to deal with too much of that. Just
listen. If you do hate us, just tell all your enemies about us and tell us that it's the greatest show you've ever seen, and we still get the view anyway, so it'd be great. That is all we got for you today, Podnas.